Instead of $480, they were offering $120.
I know Randy's not here, but we could talk about...
He's here in spirit.
He's here in spirit. We could talk about his trade-in value he got on his iMac. Do you want to tell that story?
Oh, I feel so bad for him. Yeah, poor Randy.
What did they say his trade-in was going to be?
Yeah, let me pull that up. If you want to give a little context, Drew, while I pull that up?
Well, basically, he bought, obviously, the MacBook Air against our wishes. So that's why I want to buy a Mac Mini now, because we need to compensate for Randy's decision. But he likes the MacBook Air. He loves the M1, and it's very fast for what he needs to do work on. But his old iMac didn't really serve a purpose, and he's moving. So having a desktop that you have to lug around isn't really going to be very practical. So he plugged it into the Apple trade-in thing for the trade-in your Mac.
And it gave him $480
that was the number.
Trade-in that they told him.
480, which is pretty good considering it was from 2015, very slow. And I know Randy's how he treats his hardware. Like, I had seen the iMac
he doesn't
itself.
Eat AirPods into the floor.
No,
it was in excellent condition.
Great condition, like new, hardly any scratch. I didn't see a single scratch on it, and everything was pristine, very, very clean. And I'm sure he shipped it in perfect condition and all that. And then what happened, Nick?
He got an email. So it's not even from Apple, right? This whole trade-in program is not actually through Apple. It's the biggest lie of corporate Apple ever. We're going to expose it here on the Tailosive Tech Podcast. Yes, Apple endorsed.
It's on Apple's site.
Third-party provider, yeah. So Randy went through Apple's website, and when you go through Apple's website, they do contract with a third-party recycling organization called Phobia. Phobio. We'll go with phobio because I don't have
which
a phobia.
Which means like fear of, right?
Yeah, phobia means fear of. So I don't know what phobio means. Maybe you have a fear of.
You have a fear of. Yeah.
You have a fear of.
You have a fear of the trade-in value you're gonna get.
Well, Randy should have, because he sent it in through Apple. Right, Apple sent him a box, and he sent it off to Phobio, and he got an email about 14 days later from Phobio. Remember, Randy was expecting $480 back, and he was going to put this towards the purchase of this MacBook Air, and you know he'd already budgeted for it, right? Like that's right. What you do. You go on the website, you stick in your trade-in value. As long as you're not lying about stuff on the trade-in page, like things being scratched, SSDs not being the right size or whatever, then like it's pretty fair to expect to get almost that exact price, right? Like maybe a few dollars less or a few dollars more, but like not
it
much.
It could be a little off, but yeah.
Yeah, especially seeing how, he went through Apple's website and everything. Well, he got an email 14 days later from Phobio. Instead of $480, they were offering $120.
Oh my gosh. That's literally a quarter, isn't it?
It is literally 1/4 of what they were originally.
25% of the
And the problem was they had already gotten the Mac. And so they did give him an option to ship it back, but that would have been at his expense. And so...
Oh, really? Like, they would have charged him to ship it back?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't on the text. Let me look that up. That's how I remember the story.
I didn't see that, but that's
we need
crazy.
Randy back. Randy, if you're listening to this, please come back. And
I could understand maybe if they say it was 480, but then it ends up being 400. That right? Or like I would be like, okay, kind of sucks, but
420,
yeah,
69.
All right, pretty close. But 25%, those numbers are way off. Those are like... And the frustrating thing for him was like he's in the process of moving and he's very busy, so he can't just quickly have that shipped back and try to sell it elsewhere, because he's got to pack up, he's got to get things moving. So they wasted his time, and they promised a substantially higher number. Despite, like, I don't know what part of the inspection made them decide that number was lower. It's not like he shipped it with like a broken screen or anything.
Yeah,
like
no.
It was in perfect condition. So I don't know exactly why they would list the price that high if that was all they were willing to offer in the first place. It's a joke.
Yeah. So I was looking back at our chat, and I don't see anything about him mentioning the shipping price back from Phobia.
Okay.
What I was remembering was, I was like, well, Randy, if it's $120 that they'll give you, I'll give you $121. and I'll keep it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 5K
the shipping
display.
Cost. Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of would wish I kind of got that because I was looking online after the fact, and evidently you can turn an iMac in pretty easily into an external monitor with this little like card. You have to like disassemble the iMac and stuff, but like you can just disconnect the computer inside the iMac and turn it into basically just an HDMI monitor. I'm like, that's kind of cool. But also new iMacs are coming that are going to totally be redesigned, and I'm not going to want the design of the current iMac. So
true.
Oh well.
That would make them all look very dated very quickly. But I mean, if it's $120 or $200 even, if you offered just $300 would be a pretty
beautiful monitor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
just
it's
the
just
screen.
so sad
You could
that like that was from Apple.
Sad.
Like that was Apple branded. I know it's Phobia or whatever, but like this is like Apple branded. This is like Apple saying, "Hey, come to our website. We will make this as easy as possible for you." And the trade-in process is fairly easy. Just a few questions on the website, and then you give them your address, and they ship you a box, and it's fairly simple. But for some reason, they're lying about how much they're going to give out. And I very much struggled to believe at the time when Randy entered in his information on the website that the real trade-in price was $480, and then between the time where he entered in the information and they received and reviewed the unit, somehow the device's fair market value had gone from $480 to $120. I do not believe that is a possibility. They had to have known that it was not going to be that much. It's terrible.
No, something's wrong. I think that either they have updated the trade-in prices but have not decided to post them on the website.
Yeah.
Because they're like, because they're probably capitalizing off of people like Randy who are just like, oh, well, it's already shipped. I don't want to have to ship it back and have to sell it because it's going to be such a hassle. So I guess I'll just take what I can, which is, I guess, what he ended up doing. But I think you and I were both like, no, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Please.
Send it to me.
But I get his viewpoint. He was in a bind and he didn't have that kind of time on his hands. So I get why, but still it sucks. I would be very annoyed in that situation, which is why also for the record, I haven't traded in my Mac Mini yet. My wife still wants to try to sell it for cash instead of trade in, which the price looks good. What's that?
How much are they saying they're going to give you on the Apple website for the Mac Mini?
I think
this is the
480.
Intel Space Gray Mac Mini, right? 480?
Yes. The last time I plugged in the serial number and everything, they said 480. But now I have a feeling they just tell everyone 480. Yeah, I don't want that to happen to me. That would annoy the crap out of me. So seeing that happen to Randy makes me go like, I don't know if I trust that Apple trade-in number anymore. I'm going to be much more skeptical of that moving forward. So I'm gonna take my time trying to sell it to someone. Though after Sam's stories, I don't want to sell it to anybody online.
To anyone.
Yeah, so I'm not shipping it. Don't ask me for it. I'm not going to ship it. But probably just look a bit harder to find a buyer, even in my personal life, even just try to find people that might need a little Mac for something for around $400.
Do you need a Mac that's slow, hot, and doesn't really work well, and is completely outdated with this new Mac Mini that came out?
You should probably not buy this, but would you like this? That's the
For only $300 more, you can get an infinitely more powerful Mac Mini.
But they don't know that. They don't know that. I'll get that for me.
Remind me never to buy anything from you, Drew.
Yeah, don't. I don't have to remind you that.
This was a clip from the Tailosive Podcast Archive. If you want more content like this, hit the subscribe button. And of course, hit that like button to ensure that a Google Pixel sheep has one more tear fall from their eye.